There has been a media meltdown in liberal newsrooms across America over the acquittal of Kyle Rittenhouse. And as usual, leading the charge are Joe Biden's biggest cheerleaders over at MSNBC and CNN. Take a look.
To take from this verdict what they want and to use it as permission to attack Black Lives Matter. And Black Lives Matter ain't just black people, as we just saw. Anyone who supports Black Lives Matter should be very afraid to.
Hate to, in any way vilify prosecutors. They did what they could with the facts of this case, not the least of which the judge, in many ways, had their hands tied behind their backs.
To be clear, the aggregate kind of understanding that we get from these Zimmerman-style verdicts, that aggregate message is twofold. One, it is to tell the current and future Kyle Rittenhouses of the world that they can engage in white vigilantism.
What we know now is that the jury bought the narrative of Kyle Rittenhouse being a victim.
Something akin to saying that if you go into a bank and rob it and people are trying to apprehend you, you can then shoot your way out and claim self-defense.
Joining me with a reaction is Fox Nation host Tomi Lahren and author of The Spider Who Saved Christmas. I gotta read that one. Fox News contributor Raymond Arroyo. All right, guys, you know what amazes me? When they talk about all this, they talk about, he attacked BLM. No, he attacked three people who attacked him. And by the way, Joe Rosenbaum was a pedophile, and Huber was a guy who strangled someone and had, he didn't kill her, but had domestic violence charges. And this Black Lives Matter protest, as they call it, was really an opportunity for some nut jobs to go out there and exercise their frustrations with they don't know what. They just get a chance to be violent. What do you say, Tammy? Tommy?
Well, listen, the media, in conjunction with Democrats, have been breeding false narratives and lies to sow racial division since at least Ferguson and Michael Brown, and that also coincided with the birth of the BLM movement that was based on a lie. Hands up, don't shoot, lie. Rampant and systemic police brutality, lie. Officers are gunning down and killing black people willy-nilly, lie. Kyle Rittenhouse is a white supremacist who traveled to Kenosha to kill, lie. And here's another lie. This case has absolutely nothing to do with race, but since it's so abundantly obvious Kyle was innocent, the left has to play the only card they have, even if it makes no sense whatsoever. But they don't care because they get the ratings. They get to stoke more violence. They get to stoke more racial division, more hatred. And then they get the ratings from that. At the end of the day, the media is guilty, not Kyle Rittenhouse.
Raymond, hit it.
Judge, the media malfeasance was in place at the very beginning of this. Remember the scene here, okay? Jacob Blake is shot by police after slashing at them. Now, the police were cleared with a knife. The police were cleared not only by the Department of Justice, but also by local authorities. Didn't matter. The media went out and echoed this story that it was an inappropriate and indeed criminal shooting of an unarmed black man. That's what drew, need I say, people across state lines to riot, loot, burn the city of Kenosha. That's the setting. So Rittenhouse, that whole situation might never have happened had the media not amplified what was a terrible local story, but it was not one, their fact pattern was all over the place. In fact, Jacob Blake still lives, and that is often missing from a lot of the reportage. I love these are the same people, Judge, who were vehemently against mass incarceration of juveniles until they heard about Kyle Rittenhouse. Then they wanted him locked up and the key thrown away.
Well, it's almost like gang members, they're only 16, 17, their brains aren't fully formed, but Kyle Rittenhouse, 17, throw him in prison, and if they could, they would have given him the death penalty. Let's listen to Joy Reid. She's one of my favorites. Listen to this sound.
To the Kyle Rittenhouse trial, it reminded a lot of people of something, the Brett Kavanaugh hearings, in which Brett Kavanaugh cried his way through the hearings. In America, there's a thing about both white vigilantism and white tears, particularly male white tears.
Okay, Tommy.
Oh, of course. if you watch the actual trial, you know that Kyle was innocent. If you watch the media coverage, you probably think that he was guilty. But again, they have to talk about the only thing that they have. They have to talk about race now. They have to talk about misogyny, white privilege, all these things that have absolutely nothing to do with the case. But it gets people like Joy-Ann Reid ratings. It gets her attention. We're sitting here talking about her. And at the end of the day, I think she's that big of a narcissist and attention seeker that that's what she really wants. I don't think she's even really disturbed by the verdict. I think she just wants attention.
Well, and you know what,
Judge?
you know, with the O.J. case, a lot of people didn't think that verdict was legitimate with O.J., who killed his wife. But you didn't see people protesting. You know, a lot of people thought they proved his guilt beyond a reasonable doubt.
All the commentators I've heard today, they've said, look, this is only going to inspire vigilantism. What I've seen is riotism. If you look out at Portland, last night they had 200 people. They destroyed buildings, they were breaking glass, and they tried to burn down a jail. So the vigilantism hasn't quite panned out. But here's the destructive force, Judge. It is the racial division of America and amplifying that, repeating it, echoing it. I think, look, we as Americans have to come together. And I'm from a place in New Orleans where black, white, brown, yellow, we're all very close together, and we meet over a coffee cup, not a gun barrel. That's the better way to go. And we've got to figure this out, or we're going to tear this country apart. And shame on the media for slandering this kid without presenting the facts cleanly and continuing this narrative that racial division and conflict is present everywhere they look, and that this kid is a white, racist vigilante. He's none of those things,
You know,
except white, but he's not a white supremacist.
Of course not.